Hey guys, what's going on? It is Snow Drama here, and a week ago was PAX East 2018. I went all 4 days and I had an absolute blast. It was so much fun. I got to play games, I got to meet some devs, and it was just so much fun. I am so excited to share with you what I got. It took me a bit to put this all together because either I got con flu or because it's starting to warm up, my allergies are kicking in, but I was sick like all week. So it took me a little bit to get through it, and my voice sounds like trash, but yeah, we're gonna push through it and get into all the stuff that I did during PAX. One of the first games that I played on Thursday was Mothergunship. It's a high-action first-person shooter that kind of reminds me of Quake combined with like a bullet hell. The game throws you into a room with a ton of robots all shooting just so many bullets all at once. It was like one of them even shot like 10 bullets at once. It was ridiculous. It was a ton of fun. I just loved bouncing and jumping around and blasting everything in sight. They also have like gun crafting, which is super awesome. You can like tweak the guns, you can attach guns to other guns, and you can just build these giant guns. Of course, the problem I had was I made a super dumb gun that had so many parts on it and I ran out of ammo, so like I'd shoot it twice and then the whole thing would be out of ammo and I'd have to wait for it to recharge. But it was awesome. From all of my time playing it, I do have to say my favorite gun was the saw gun. When you shoot it, it like goes in an arc and it can bounce off the floor and pop up and hit enemies. So you can kind of like arc it and like cause it to like bounce and hit things. It was awesome. This is one of the games that I spent most of my time at, and we'll come back to it in a little bit. After that, I got lunch and then watched Splatoon tournament.
The pink team making light work of the green team just over 30 seconds to go. It would take an incredible comeback at this point for the green team to rally out of this and change the tide of this game. Best game we've seen so far, 71.2. Will we see a better performance out of this pink team? Less than 20 seconds remaining. The green team trying to battle their way out of their spawn. Player number 2 doing a great job just filling in all this available backspace. So much of the map covered in pink right now. Player number 6 and 5 trying to 2v2. Player number 3, player number 4 backing them up. Double splat at the end there. 1 second remaining. Oh, it's not a question of who won. It's a question of by how much. Will this be a new record for the day? Just short, 65.6%.
Then I went and I played a game called Riverbond, which is an interesting game. It's a 4-player co-op hack and slash adventure with the voxel aesthetic. It's very bright and colorful and really fun. Ignore my trash camera angle. My camera was attached to my hat and I didn't realize I was looking down a bit too far. But yeah, there's lots of destructible environments, collectibles, a whole bunch of different like varied areas. All the pixel art is really cool. The destructible environments were really in depth. There was tons of stuff to just smash. Trees, grass, everything that was like in the level could be smashed. There were a few varied areas. We started in a plains area, we moved to a mine, and then a castle for like the boss of the demo. It was super simple, but it was a lot of fun. You just, go in, there's a couple buttons, you got your gun, you've got your hack and slash, you've got your sword, and then you've got a couple of upgrades that you get throughout it. It's really interesting. If you're interested in like 4-player cooperative games that are just like kind of fun party games almost, I would definitely recommend this. It was super fun, and I can't wait to see more of this game. So come Friday, I grabbed a bunch of my friends and we hopped over to the line for Due Process. This was one of the games I was most hyped for. I saw it on Friday, and I had previously seen this game in its really early alpha state before it had this big graphical update that they were showcasing there. And it looked awesome, so I grabbed them so we'd have a squad, and then I hopped in line with them. And the game was so much fun. So the game is a 5v5 competitive game where you play as either the attackers or defenders of a building. In the game we played, we started as the defenders, and the goal was to prevent the enforcers, or the attackers, from getting into the building and disarming a bomb that we were guarding. We played a few rounds as the defenders, and then we switched to the attacking side where we then tried to disarm the bomb. And the maps are all randomly generated, so everyone starts on equal footing. At the beginning of the match, you can draw on the maps and strategize with your team, and all the drawings stay on the ground, so you can see them once you start the game and you're in your first-person view. You can actually see these little dots drawn all over the ground. So if you draw like an arrow pointing at a door, then when you were strategizing, you're like, okay, you guys go in through this door, and you draw the arrow. It actually shows up in first-person view in the game, pointing at the correct door. I think this will really help when you play the game online if you don't have a pre-made team. If you're filling with like randoms on the internet, you can quickly get together and have one guy be the leader and draw all the drawings on the ground to actually build this plan. The game had a lot of mechanics, so we lost like all but 3 games because we made a lot of mistakes. But the game has a lot of stuff going on, so there's a lot of depth to the strategy, and with the randomly generated levels, it seems like there's going to be a lot of game to this game. So I'm definitely interested in picking it up. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you like games like Rainbow Six Siege, I think this is a good alternative to that, because this one has a lot of really interesting things, especially with the randomly generated maps. The highlight of that whole thing, we get a win in our last match where it says 0 seconds left on the clock. After due process, we break for lunch, and then we meet these fellows. After that strange encounter, we broke off again. I did a little more shopping, and then I played a couple of other games, including this one here, 0 North, 0 West. The best way I can describe 0 North, 0 West is just a surrealist first-person experience. The whole game has no particular direction. I was kind of dropped into this whole area. It had these pink pastels and all this stuff, and eventually I found my way to like the edge of the level, and I got teleported to other areas. And so I continued to do this, and it almost became this like Zen state where I just kind of got sucked in, and I just kind of wandered around just to see like what jumping off this building would take me to next. It was a really interesting surrealist experience. That was probably one of the more unique things that I played at PAX. This game is out on Steam already if you want to go check it out, and the developer told me that he's working on taking the game and taking each level and turning it into VR levels, so you'll be able to experience this game and its surrealist atmosphere in VR, which is going to be really cool. On Saturday, I spent a lot of time with my friends, so I didn't get a lot of footage, but I did go back and play Mothergunship. They were offering prizes if you were able to beat Nightmare Mode, and so I gave it a shot. I died.
Oh my. What the hell happened? Hold on.
Not just once, but
on.
twice.
Ah.
So as you can imagine, I was pretty bummed. But I did manage to get the Pachamari plush from the Blizzard merch booth, so I guess it's a win? So then Sunday rolls around, and the friends that I had been hanging out with the previous day are no longer coming, and so instead I picked up a different friend, and we went and we actually played a whole bunch of games. And speaking of, thank yous to my friend for holding the camera for me while I played Mages of Mystralia. It's a third-person adventure game with a pretty unique mechanic. The game contains runes that have special properties, and these properties can enhance your spells to cause them to behave differently. For example, you can use like a rune that makes spells longer, that extends them, in order to make a spell that's normally short range into a long range attack, or to take a spell like that's a long range attack and then attach to the end a completely different spell. So you can cause like a fireball to do a lightning blast at the end, right? So there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with it. I only barely scratched the surface in the demo, because you only get around 6 or so runes, but I could definitely see the potential, and in the pages that I was seeing where the rune slots were, there was tons that I didn't have. So there's plenty of uses for spells in both combat and to solve puzzles, and so I think this is a really cool mechanic. The music and the art were also really, really well done, and the game's already out on Steam, PS4, and Xbox One, so go check it out if you're interested. Then I wandered over towards the Nintendo booth and I saw someone else playing Just Beats and Shapes, and this game looks awesome, just the way it sounds and the graphics and all the perfect timing stuff. It's just a perfect example of how like a rhythm game breaks out of like the mold of Guitar Hero type games, right? This is like a res kind of thing, and it looks amazing to me. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play it because the booth was always packed, but just looking at it, I know this is something I have to play.
Circle still untouched.
Next up we have Airships, which is a really interesting game. It's a kind of like a hybrid of a RTS kind of strategy game, but with shipbuilding, which is really interesting to me. So in the game, you're attempting to build a airship or sometimes a land ship. You have like treads and feet and like legs and stuff that you can use. But primarily it's about airships, hence the title of the game. And so you're able to build these airships out of like different parts, and there's this whole huge system for like building and designing, and there's all these weapons and stuff. And then you fight against other airships and other like in buildings and walkers and all these other enemies, which there's just so much you can do there. And I guess I didn't get into it, but there's a whole multiplayer aspect where you can go online and battle, have big battles with other fleets. Like people can design their own ships and stuff, and then you can face off against them in battles online. So there's this huge aspect to it. I only played the tutorial, but I could already see like the kind of depth that this game was going to eventually have. It's definitely the kind of game you want to look into if you really like thinking games and building games. There's lots of stuff to do in it, and it's got a lot of nuance that I couldn't even get into in the 30 minutes that I played. And yeah, that's right. My GoPro automatically split my footage up into 3 13-minute parts. So I was sitting there playing the game for at least 30 minutes. I got through the tutorial and I had barely just scratched the surface of this game. And finally, we get to the last game that we got a chance to play. I met up with my friend again after lunch, and then we played one last game before we headed out for the evening, right before PAX closed, and that was Tunic. Now, I didn't actually play this one. My buddy, since he was the one who showed me the booth, was the one who actually played it. But it's a third-person adventure game with really, really nice graphics. The art style, everything, the animation, the environment, it was all just gorgeous. I actually really, really like the way it looks. The game has a heavy combat focus with a lot of dodge rolling and counter-attacking during like attack openings. A lot of people say it's like a cross between Zelda and Dark Souls, which, from what I was able to see, definitely I could definitely see where the Zelda Dark Souls crossover comes from. Though the game is slated for 2019, but it's definitely something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on because it seems like something I would definitely be interested in playing. Alright guys, and that was it for PAX East 2018. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you can get notified when I upload. And yeah, I'm Snowdrama, thanks for watching.